Is that him? Put the hatchet down. Put the axe down. Put the axe down. Put the axe down. 10:33, shots fired. Start me rescue for Whiskey Mike. Signal 18 to the head. Shots were fired by police.
You all right?
I'm good.
Oh, yeah, sure, I'm good. That Jacksonville police officer took just 40 seconds to shoot someone dead there. But really fast, listen to again how he reported over the radio how shots were fired, and I guess the pleasure in his voice. It's just my take. Listen to that again.
10:33, shots fired.
Like, got him, bagged it. Here's some details of this disgusting situation. First Coast News reported in April that an officer shot and killed 43-year-old Kevin Mahan. JSO was initially called to the 7200 block of the city's Westside for a person described as mentally ill. Described that so before he got there. Now, a former Jacksonville detective said he disagreed with the cops' handling of this whole thing, and he said her name's Kim Varner, reviewed the video and told First Coast News that the officer was quick to shoot him. If it was me, I would have held him at bay until I had some backup arrive. Now, considering the man in the video was described to be mentally ill, Varner said that he would have tried taking the Mahan down to put down the axe, talking to him to put down the axe instead of, well, I guess he did kind of talk to him. He screamed at him. Why not try and talk to the guy? Drop the axe. Ain't talking to him is what Varner added to the entire situation. Now, the disgusting nature of the second part about this, because of course, once the police had to respond to this whole thing, what did they say? What did they do? Well, this officer has not been identified yet. As you know, so I haven't said his name because no one really knows. There's reason behind that. A police official said the officer is back to work and no longer on administrative leave. However, the investigation is ongoing. So he's back out there dealing with his temper and his immediate nature to shoot guns and be proud of it. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office no longer identifies officers involved in a shooting because a court ruling granted officers confidentiality under Marsy's law. I want to tell you guys about Marsy's law in a second, Jessica. But first, this quick triggered cop who's very, again, my perception, very happy to pull the trigger.
I agree. It seems like this guy plays video games a lot. Just the way he said shots fired and was so quick to shoot. I mean, it seems like he doesn't think of this as a person, as a human being. And I think that's a problem with a lot of police officers. I mean, a lot of police officers are quick to shoot, even when someone doesn't have a deadly weapon like an axe. You'll have people like Donovan Lewis, who was reaching for a vape pen, who got shot by police after they broke into his house in the middle of the night when he was sleeping. I mean, these police officers are supposed to, theoretically, serve and protect people, which is something that they never do. And if you see human beings as so expendable that you'll shoot that quickly when your life very clearly was not in danger in that moment, just really goes to show that that's reality for them.
Or they figure, hey, I can pull this off. I feel like it today. And went for it. Let's go to this Marsy's law aspect of this story, you guys. As I mentioned there, the reasons why we don't know who this guy is because they're protected under this, which is supposed to be for victims, families of a victim of a crime like this. Marsy's law was inspired by Marcely Nicholas, a University of California, Santa Barbara student who was stalked and killed by her ex-boyfriend in '83. And a week after Marcy was murdered, her family walked into a grocery store after visiting her grave and was confronted by her killer. The family was never notified that her killer had been released. The constitutional amendment, approved by voters in 2018, enumerated specific rights to victims of crimes, including the right to prevent the disclosure of information or records that could be used to locate or harass the victim or the victim's family. Keep all that in mind because we're still talking about police here and the reason why we don't know who this guy is. They've been able to use that law though for themselves. So when Florida voters approved of Marsy's law 4 years ago, the intention was to protect crime victims' privacy and prevent them from being further victimized as that one family did. But some law enforcement agencies have applied blanket secrecy in interpreting the law, leading to basic information about crime in communities being shielded from the public. And one particular aspect of this working for them After killing a black transgender man, Tallahassee police argue that they should be able to use this to stop the release of their names, which then leads to this guy being able to do it. Here's that quick detail. In May of 20, a Tallahassee police officer shot and killed Tony McDade, a black transgender man. And after the shooting, the Florida Police Benevolent Association sued the city of Tallahassee to prevent the release of the names of the two officers, including the officer suspected of shooting him. And the police union claimed that McDade threatened the officers with a gun, a claim some witnesses reportedly dispute, and argued that the officers' identities should be protected under Marcy's law, which was the whole thing we were just talking about. Let's just use it for ourselves so we can not have to be identified anymore, considering this keeps happening and we keep getting identified and we keep covering it up.
Yep, in the great state of Florida, where you can see "Don't Tread on Me" flags everywhere and people talking about freedom and having a free country, but blue line flags everywhere. They love the police, but the police have more rights than the citizens do. Are you really free in a country or a state where that's the case? It makes absolutely no sense. And these are the same people that boast about their Second Amendment rights to carry guns. You don't have a right to carry a firearm if a cop can shoot you on sight and get off scot-free simply because you had one. This guy just had an axe and he was shot, and we still don't know who the cop is. I mean, it's ridiculous that the same people who will defend the police and defend these notions of freedom are not aware that the kind of thing that they're fighting for is antithetical to that freedom by defending the police.
They have to think past the first stage of fear and what they think is a patriot, but they won't go there.